Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about updating our 1.19.3 to Minecraft 1.19.4. So technically this is going to be the official last video for this series. I will still I do have a couple ideas on videos I'm still going to be making in like the after post, but I've mentioned it before. Those are all going to be experimental features, and I'll explain how those work when we get to those videos. But today, we're talking about updating, and this is technically the last one in the series, but there'll still be more, so don't feel too bad about it. Alright, when we update Minecraft, you can either make a backup folder, or you can just start changing your code. But if you just start changing your code, if you make a mistake and you can't put it back, that's on you. So I'm going to show you what's the safest way to make a backup folder, and I would recommend doing it. But if you don't want to do it, then you're going to have to go to this timestamp right here and just skip it, and then we're just going to get right into all the changes. Alright? So, let's get into how to make a backup. To get a backup, we are going to open up the fabric templates, and we are going to make sure that nothing is selected in your advanced options, but use custom ID, and you are going to want to make the same exact thing that you had. The folder name, it doesn't matter. Meh. The mod ID has to be the same. So I've been using HMH3, and I'm going to use HMH3 because, well, that's how it works. So whatever your mod ID is, make sure it is the same. And then your package name. So mine is my name, so it's net.romeosnowblitz. And you can find out where these are in your IntelliJ, and this is all information in your Gradle properties. This is stuff that you need to change when you're updating, and you can tell that your archive's base name is what that is, and your Maven group is what that is. So make sure that those are exactly the same for this to work. And that this is going to end up, as our backup folder, turn into the new folder. Alright, so now we can download the template, and we're going to download it. It's going to be great. So we are going to show in folder. Let's bring it on to our desktop. From here, we can extract it, extract all, great, grand, alright, and then we can just delete this. We can bring this over, and now if we want to change the name, you can change it to whatever we want. So now let's write 1.19.4. Sure. Let's just call it 1. Because this is the folder name. The folder name, all that really does is, so this is called Minecraft tutorial. It just displays your folder at the top here, and just tells you what folder you're in. So it's just going to be called the 1.19.4. So actually, why don't let's call this MT 1.19.4, and it's going to stand for Minecraft tutorial. Great. So how do I open it up? So every time I make an IntelliJ project, it comes up with the IntelliJ logo, but right now it's that white folder, so it hasn't been built yet. That's why you set the name before you build it, because once it's built, I don't think you can change the folder anymore. Go to your file, and you want to hit Open. And either it's going to put you in a project that you're open. Right now, it put me further back before the project. So it will be all the way from C, users, whatever your username is. Then look for desktop. You're going to see that little IntelliJ special, the line. So that's a coding folder. And now we have all these. So we got main, my first program. There's our Minecraft tutorial, and then right here the MT 19 by 4. Let's say new window. So it's going to start loading because this is going to be a 1.19.4 project file. There is nothing in it. This was just like how we opened up our folder when we first made the mod. And we're going to have to do this again when we make the 1.20. Alright, so I got a build successful in 1 minute. And so what I'm going to do is I can open it up, and I'm going to look at the Gradle properties. So this is the most important thing, is to make sure your Gradle properties are in there. And sometimes if you load this, your Your Fabric version might change here and there, but basically keep the loader the same. There's other builds. I think this legitimately updated today, because I remember this being a smaller number, and this also I definitely remember that was build 1. So they updated it today, interestingly enough. But either way, everything should still hopefully work because this is a backup folder. What is in the backup folder? Absolutely nothing. If you want, because there's absolutely no code in here, if you want to just double check that everything's working, that everything's fine, all you got to do is go to your Gradle, tasks, and we don't have a data gen set up, so we can just go into Fabric and then we can just run client. And it should open up the Minecraft world. If it crashes, read the message, figure out what went wrong, because nothing should go wrong. I haven't touched a single thing yet. So if it opens up, looks like it did. It did it pretty quickly, smoothly, and
Press
then here,
enter to enable the narrator.
yep, that is how Minecraft is going to open now. It's not like that all the time though. If I hit continue, now we have our thing. And if we open up our screen, this is all changed. I cannot say that I like this, but it's just how Minecraft is going to be now for the forever. it's just how it's going to be. So it is working, and that is a very good sign. So now I'm going to do this. So now we have our backup folder, right? And we now need to implement all of our stuff. So the first thing that I'm going to do is click on this Romeo Snowblitz folder, and I am going to delete it completely, gone. And then I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold control, I'm going to let it go into the net, because that's how you copy folders, and it will put all my dates up there, all my stuff in there. Now this is all hard coding stuff, so it's actually pretty light on transfer. This is where stuff is going to get real. So assets, delete your assets, boom, go into your assets, drag them in, so now all our assets are out, and then we're going to do the same thing with data. We're going to drag all of our data in. This one's going to take a little bit of a minute because I did something I wasn't supposed to, but we're going to talk about that later. All right, it's in. Sometimes it lags a little bit. Wait till your data shows up. There it goes. The data has showed up, so that is good. And now we need to go over. So everything is now transferred. So we need to now go over the changes between our the fabric mod. So let's go in this fabric mod, and what we need to do is the mix and stay the same, but we need to get all of our main entry points. So from this bracket, so fabric data generation, client, and main, we're going to control C, and here in our main entry points, we are going to go over here and hit control V, and look at that, everything is now good. So now we're going to go into the next one, is our mixins. We're going to back out here. We're going to go into our mixins. So here we have the brewing stand one that we are going to need to add. So we're going to add it. And then it's going to say, hey, everything's broken. That's because we need to add in the .html3 folder. And that is working. If your package name does not include, so basically what this is talking about is it's looking for our folder. So depending if, so inside of my name, I made a folder in my name called HMH3. Most people don't double folder like this. Usually inside of your name, you just make the block data gen. If you made a double folder like this, instead of putting all this directly in your name, normally you're supposed to just put it directly all in your name. If you didn't do that, that's fine. If you double foldered, you're going to have to call in that extra folder in there. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter, honestly. Okay, but so that's that. The next thing is build Gradle. So this one's going to be a little bit different. So let's go, and the reason is because we're going to be talking about the Geckolib, the custom entity that we had, and that is in a different version. I'll try and show you what I mean. So first things first, I make it snapshot the 1.0 because that's personally what I make. When this elephant comes up, ignore the elephant. Ignore the elephant. When it comes down to our dependencies for mod implementation, backspace that bottom one, and this one, and this one will light up. You're going to need those. But now it's also, we would normally copy this over, but this is specifically for 1.19.3, and we don't need that. So how do we update it? We're going to have to go up here, and then we're going to have to look up the Geckolib 1.19.4 repository, And then we're just going to click on here, and then we're going to go to, you can find installation instructions for modders here. So we're going to click on there. And this says Fabric 1.19.3, but it's not. It is .4. I know it's for .4 because it literally says Geckolib Fabric 1.19.4. Why they haven't changed this? It's probably an accidental typo or something, but they did get what they specifically needed. So let's grab the repository. Technically, it should probably be the same, I would assume, but we're still going to copy them individually. So the repository, make sure you're also getting the fabric. Do not do quilt or forge. Make sure it's the fabric one. So I copy the repository, and we're going to put the repository, obviously, in our repositories here. It's the only thing in the repository. So we're going to shove that in there and call it a day. And then at the very bottom of our dependencies, we're going to need to add the other dependency. So here is our dependency. So we're going to copy this line of code, Control C, and then we're going to put it right underneath in our dependency. So now we have the 1.19.4 version. Perfect. Now we do not have our data gen set up in this new one, so we're just going to add it. So hopefully you set up your thing. So let us go and I need the other version. There we go. In here. So right after process resources and tasks, you're going to see how it says source sets all the way to def. So def to source sets, that's what you're copying, Control C, and you're going to put it in between process resources and tasks. This is for your data gen setup. And then beyond that, your properties doesn't need to change because we did that upon all the other stuff. Now that that is all done, if I close out of this, and then we have this open, now you can hit the elephant. It's going to reload all of the projects, so it's going to run everything in 1.19.4. It's going to bring in all of the yarn, well, not the yarn mappings, but basically the extra stuff for the stuff that we added in here. So it's going to make sure it's snapshot 1. It's going to add the 1.19.4 files that it needs because it didn't have them before. We just added them. It's going to add our data gen processing because we do still have our data gen folder. If you do not reinitialize your data gen, then when you go to run the client, all your textures are basically going to be missing, and you're going to be very confused why. So make sure that you reinitialize that. It's all done. Perfect. Great. Grand. Let's close out of everything. And with all that hard work done, we now have a completed and finished backup folder. So I am now going to go back to the audience of the people who check the timestamp so that they can come into. I need to show them how to update the version rather than just transferring stuff into the backup folder, which is different. So for you guys are going to need to come into a different timestamp, and then we are going to do, whether you made a backup folder or not, we're going to look through all of the changes together, and we're going to go through all the changes, and from there, you guys should be intertwined. So come down to this timestamp, and we'll figure it all out from there. All right, so if you chose to not put in a backup folder, then we're going to have to do this manually. The first thing that you're going to want to do is we are going to have to update the loader, yarn, Minecraft version, and the fabric version that we are using. That is the first step. So we can do that by looking up online the fabric templates. We're going to have to take a look at the, it says use this tool, customize template. This is how we used to have to do it. We go to something called the fabric example mod, but the only thing you need to know is the Gradle properties. So let's click on the 1.19.4, and it's going to have everything in here. So basically, your version, so we're going to Control C and copy this, and then we're going to go back into our IntelliJ and copy it there. So we got 1.19.4, build 1, version 17, and then we would basically copy it from here, Control C. This would be the dependencies on it. So that would be for this, Control V. So that is for version 75. And then after, you're gonna go into your Minecraft mod and go all the way to the bottom where it says your depends, and you changed these two things. So look at your fabric loader in your Gradle. Your fabric project fabric loader is now 1417. So this would be 1417, and then this would be 1.19.4. And then the last thing that you're going to want to change is updating your go in your build.gradle, and this is the 1.19.3 version for the Geckolib. And since we are updating that as well, this is somewhere else. We're gonna have to look up the Gecko 1.19.4. Go into your Minecraft. That's not it. Repository. In Geckolib, there it is, and then it says you can view the installation instructions here for modders, and then here it says Fabric 1.19.3, but it's not 1.19.3 because here it literally says Geckolib Fabric 1.19.4. So they just didn't update the word here. Make sure it does say the Fabric or whatnot. So first thing, we're going to copy the repositories. I don't think this changes, but I just copy it just to be sure, and then we Control V, and then that was that. And then we go into this part, the dependencies, and then we are going to copy that little piece of code. Then we're going to go to our dependencies, Control V, and then from here you are all set to go. One thing that I am going to announce is so in the other version, in the backup file, so we're going to continue coding everything in the backup file, not in this one. So if I file open this window, let's do it in a new window, in my backup. So the versions are going to be a little bit different. So if you have troubles with, so the Gradle is going to be the same no matter what, but your Gradle properties, so if we look at the Gradle properties here, this is the backup folder that I made. We're going to be using 14.19 and then version 78 even. So if you have troubles with this, you can always update it to this, and then all you would have to do is scroll to the bottom of your Fabric mod and then change to make sure that 14.17 is 14.19. If you want to update it now, you can go ahead and do that. So if you didn't already load it, so like I said, this would be version .19. If we go into here, 19, this would be build 2, 19, and then like I said, this is going to be 78 pure, so 19. The reason why I'm showing you this is because this is what we're using, but the reason I showed you how to do it online is because that is the official way to do it, is to look up this in the Gradle properties, and like I said, just looking up the Fabric template, and you have the Fabric example mod. You just go in the Gradle properties. It updates for every Minecraft version that comes out. So I'm guessing starting at 1.17 is when they started it. Maybe it was 16. I don't know. But that is there. That's really it to updating that part. So all we have to do once we are finished is you would just load your Gradle changes, give it a second, and then when it's all done, then you're going to try and run your client. So this is when we get into the video in which both you, who didn't make an update, a background, and then the people who made a background, we're going to be doing the changes together. So we're going to simply run the client. If you did make a backup folder, basically we need to go through all the changes first. So if you made a backup folder, you obviously would try and run the data generation, but if you run the generation or the client, it's not going to work because we need to go through all the changes. So this is where everyone should now be back in the same place because this is where we make the changes. Every time you run the client, it's going to tell you that there's an error somewhere, and let's go through all those fixes, everything that we have done. So the first one, this import is no longer called wearable. What is it called now? So this came from the summoning block, and the summoning block, if we remember, came from the carved pumpkin block. And then it is now called implements equipment. So we're going to Control C, and then we are going to go over here, Control V, and then it's going to say, hey, you're missing a method now. It's called get slot type equipment slot. Okay. And then I personally don't know what it could have been or how it's coded and stuff because this is a brand new thing. So let us Control F and search it, and let's look up the get equipment slot. Nope. Okay. What was it called? Get slot type. And it's for equipment slot. So let's Control C. Let's copy this right here. And then we're just going to put it right here. Control V. It's going to put it in for us. Equipment slot head. that was really all we needed to type, but like I said, that's a new thing. And it also says that there is one more problem. That problem is this. And so how do we fix files that are now broken? So first, if it's within a method, we need to look where the method came from and then simply just hopefully the code is fixed. So this is called get placement state. So let's control C, go into here, control V. Let's look up the get placement state. So this is it. So we're going to control C. We're going to copy this, and then we are going to paste it in here. Boom. And then suddenly, look at that. It now is perfectly fine. So let's run that client again. Okay, and it looks like they've changed damage sources, which is really unfortunate because um, that's used a couple times, and I don't remember. I can't really pull them all up. But how could they have changed damage sources? I actually know why they changed it too, and it's actually going to be really cool when we start getting into data with what they changed. Let's look up the Wither Rose block. The reason I'm looking up the Wither Rose block is because it has damage. It shows, so it said damage sources dot wither, and wither was the part in caps. So it looked like they changed damage sources to now say world dot get damage sources. So that is how it is being called now. So when it says damage source, we now would call world dot get damage sources dot falling block. Now it was already calling falling block, so that's already nothing unique, I guess, in that part. Here is the Wither Rose for the Toffee Rose block. So let's go. So let's say the same thing. It's going to be world.getDamageSources, and now it's in all caps. Just kind of start typing the damage type, Wither, and then if I just hit Tab, it's going to auto-complete it all the way through. So that should take care of that. Hit again, and then there might be another one. Let's see. Damage sweetboard. So let's type in. So it's world dot get damage sources. Sweetberry bush. Boom. Done. Don't have to worry about that one anymore. Another one. All right. This is easy. World dot get damage sources dot wither. Boom. That one is done. Please tell me there's no more. Get drop stacks. This is in our mod piston extension block. So let's double shift. Let's look up that exact class, sort of. So this is coming from the piston extension block. So let's look this up. And it was said it was get drop stacks. So now we're going to copy this Control C, and then we are just going to Control V. Bam. Oh, looks like that has caused another issue. That is because it wants the piston block entity, but here we already made our mod piston block entity. So we're going to say OK, and then bam, that is now done. So let's continue. Anything else? Our mod blocks. All right, so offset. Offset type. Okay, so let's take a look at what they changed. So let's look up blocks. Minecraft not blocks, and then let's look up Control F. Let's look up the the dandelion. Let's see how they coded it. So this one is called dot offset type X and Z. So the offset type is already called, so they just got rid of the word type. So that's pretty easy. So let's get rid of the word type, and that was a really easy fix. But it seems that we have more problems. So here we're going to start with the dark door. So what did they change about the doors? So let's look up oak door. It must have an underscore, I'm assuming. Door, look at that. It seems that they got rid of the sound files. And I know that because that's what the comma is separating. It would make them the sound files. And they now have it as block set type oak. So we're going to copy that. And then let's see. Let's just get rid of the sound events. And then hit Control V. And looks like that was that. Alright, so let's try it again. So these were the sound events. And they replace it with this. Beautiful. This one, they got rid of the sound events. I'm going to get rid of this because I already see the problem. This is block set type, and so that automatically means to me that it should go here and then if I hit comma, press ticks 30. Yeah, see, it had the wrong name on it, so it means it goes before. If you still didn't get that, just look it up in the thing. So what was it? What is it for? The button? That has to be for the button. All right, so let's look up the oak button. Create. Okay, I feel like this might be a little more confusing. Don't do that. Okay, never mind. Um, so just when it says when you're setting this up, you do your sounds, you're gonna do your comma, and then so normally for like these, the ones that we were just doing where we said block set type. So if this didn't have this, this is like literally everything else. So if you just make sure you have your comma, just it just has additional information. So 30 and then true, then it's all set. It just has extra information because of what it is. Sound events, so we still have the same thing. So let's, it's called what block set type.oak. That one is now fixed. And then obviously, here we go. We got the last one. So this one would be block set type.oak. No. All right. So now we have something that's different. So what is this? This is the fence gate. So let's look up the fence gate and let's see what they did. Oak. So we got the oak fence gate. And this one's got why? why? Why did Minecraft do this? They literally could have made it the same. They, why? Why? Okay, so wood type.oak, and then block set type is not block set type. It's wood type. Ah, this infuriates me. Why could they not be considered consistent enough to just set the block site type to oak? It's literally saying the same thing as the wood type. It makes no difference. Why? I don't know. All right, anyways, moving on. So it looks like all our blocks are completed, so let's hit play. And let's see, armor materials. What have they changed? Oh, they made armor trims. I remember that. So let's look up. So this is a mod, so we just have to look up the exact same class. Armor materials include non-project files. Armor materials. Already off the bat, I see a difference. So implements armor material. This implements string identifiable and armor material. So let's control C, and then let's control V, and then implement methods is missing a couple of methods. Let's hit OK. I'm going to leave them how they are. The class is fine, so let's press play. That's going to affect a couple things. Let's see. Required type. Okay, so when you have big words where it says you have provided something, something is called equipment slot, and it says, but the requirement is type. Change your equipment slot and just put in what it asks you to do. TYPE. Type. And then I would hit dot, and then automatically, well, actually, I saw it earlier while I was typing it. It said type, something like looked like it made sense. See how it's type.helmet? So automatically, and it even says net.minecraft item.armor item. That would be a very good instance. But actually, why don't we be smart or cautious, safe? Let's be safe about it. Let's look up items, include non-project files, and then let's look at the net.minecraft.items, and then let's look up, let's say the diamond chest plate, for example, and then let's take a look at how they did it. Armor materials diamonds, net.minecraft.item armor type, that is, okay, that half of that is completely unnecessary. Let's paste it in here, and that is perfectly fine. So now we know, Control V, and then I want to fix this to, this will be the leggings, and now it says armor type leggings, so we don't need this at least. That's just being extreme. So now we know what it is officially called. Armor type, wait, armor, no, it's armor item. Okay, I see type.boots. Armor item type.boots. Okay, perfect. It's fixed now. So let's hit play. And automatically it says the slot is being messed up. And it says the provided. I've provided an equipment slot and it says the required is a type. I think it's really interesting that they put slot under here as what's been provided, and it says that that's what's wrong. But this is the variable name. So if you don't know what the variable names are, so let's give this just a random word, just literally anything. And then if I say that this is word, it'll still say the same thing where it's underlined says it's an error, but it still says I provide an equipment slot. So the thing about these is that they are literally whatever is called up here. It's literally the same name. You can call the variable whatever you want, but so it's called type. So I'm gonna be official about it now. But it's basically coming with the fact that it doesn't like that this is called equipment slot. So it wants this to be type. Type.net.minecraft.item armor item. That looks like the official one. And it says that has sparked a problem. Let's click on that problem. Let's see what it is. And it says equipment slot. So that's probably because because I just called that a type, this now needs to be a type, type dot, and then I'm just gonna fix the helmet. Perfect. So now we have the helmet, chest plate, the leggings, and the boots. So now let's hit play, and all right. So it looks like it's running. I'm gonna stop it for a second. So for anyone who had a backup, if you ran a backup, this is where you're going to want to run the data generation before you run the client. So it's stopping. I think it stopped. Okay. So now run your data generation if you ran a backup. If you did not do a backup and you just did this straight through, you don't have to run the data generation because everything should be already generated. But if you add new items after this, then yes, run the data generation before you get there. But just because this is my backup file. Backup file or not, we just went through all the changes. So let's see how everything goes. And I also just realized that if you run the client, the game is going to crash. I can either let it crash or I'm gonna let it crash. I'm gonna let it crash. And the reason is I want it to tell me why. I want to see what it tells me. Why? Because I know why. I know exactly why. But will it tell me why I know why? That's the question. Oh, it's actually pulling it up? Really? Oh, pff, as soon as I hit start, wrong. Out of here. Okay, yep, it tells me exactly, it tells me the files. Um, so, it is actually in, yeah, it was pretty smart. It is actually because they changed some stuff in the data, not the data, well, the world generation. So in our data, you should never bring stuff over if you didn't use it. So for Minecraft advancements, we made advancements, but all of our advancements are in our folder. That is proper. That is what you do. So delete this. Chat type. We did absolutely nothing with chat type. Delete it. Data packs, nothing. Dimension type, nothing. Loot tables, we have loot tables, but you should have put everything in your folder. Delete the Minecraft one. Recipes, same thing. We did not make structures. Tags. Tags you can keep. The reason is because we actually implemented stuff in our tags. If I go into tags, blocks, mineable, and then I look at this stuff, you can see that there is clearly some stuff that I've added into here. And this is actually perfectly fine. There is no problem with that because Minecraft has not changed any of these files in a way that it would cause a problem. World generation. They did change world generation, but we can still kind of keep this stuff. This kind of world generation, they did change stuff. And so it thinks that there's some things that are missing. It also doesn't like how if they change something in a biome, and if I look up like a flower forest, we put our stuff in here. I'm trying to see if I can find it. It's like the toffee flower. But when we update a Minecraft version, sometimes it doesn't. When they update some things, they updated something in here in the generation files. So unfortunately, we're going to have to take our world generation file and we're just going to have to delete it. Gone. But does that mean we can't do world generation anymore? No. we can still do world generation. We just have to see how it is done in the 1.19.4, and then we can just re-implement it into our thing. And we can easily do that by going into our external libraries. Um, Actually, why don't I show you how I make this folder that I always seem to make. So now we're going to be in 1.19.4. So now I have this Minecraft version for 1.19.3, and it is now outdated. This is the folder that I simply get my data and assets, and I look at all this. So my world gen is now outdated. I don't need it anymore. So you need to get to your Minecraft folder. So let us look up. Let's go to percent app data percent and hit enter. And then we're going to go into our Minecraft, and then there should be one called versions. Versions, there it is, versions. And now there should be one called 1.19.4. There it is, 1.19.4. And here is the JSON. Whoa, why is it looking like that? I'm looking for the jar. I need the jar file. All right, normally, if I look at 1.19.2, there's a jar and then a JSON. I need that jar file, and it seems that I don't have the jar file. I wonder if I load it in Minecraft. I wonder if it'll like load it, because there's got to be a way to like get it, because I do this all the time. If not, I got a plan B way of getting it. So let's go to latest release 1.19.4 and let's play it. It might be preparing, and in that preparing stage, I wonder if that's when it creates it. Could be right, could be wrong. We'll figure it out in a moment. Alright, so it's loaded completely. I am in the official Minecraft. I'm not actually in the mod. I'm just going to open up a world, do some things, and then I'm going to save and quit, and then I'm going to exit the out of completely. And then I'm going to see if this put it inside of my folder. So, I guess I can do it the long way because I already opened it up. Users, 94s. I got my app data, roaming.minecraft, and then we're going to go back to versions, and let's look for that 1.19.4. Ah, and look at that. We got the jar. So yes, on preparing, it does open up the jar. So I am going to do this. I'm going to copy this onto here. And then I believe this is what I do. It's a jar. I rename it, and I can rename it to .zip. It might become unstable. That's perfectly fine. And then I want to extract all of it. Extract. Beautiful. And now it makes a 1.19, 21,284 files. Ouch, that is most certainly a lot. I guess while this is going through, I'm going to have a little chat and a little story with you guys. So basically, the reason I made a backup folder and the reason I started making up backup folders is because one time, I forgot what edition it was, but I was updating my Minecraft from one version to the next, and I made a mistake. And I couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't make it, like, I basically, like, destroyed the code, and I was stressing out. I ended up having to recode a lot of the stuff. So it used to be like in my mod that I work on outside of this, it was officially called Help Me Hardcore, but during one of the things it changed, so I had to start rewriting it, and during the rewrite, I ended up calling it HMH2. That was because I rewrote it, and I broke it. So now when I go through my codes, it is HMH2. So you'll see that it's got this mark 69 and this mark 70. So this was the 1.19. Or no, I think this is 1.18, and then this is all my 1.19s. But I do make a backup version for everything of Minecraft because I did break it, and when you break the code, uh, you don't really necessarily know how much you're going to be able to save or recover. Um, and trust me, if I break it during, I mean, think about it. If you break up, if you accidentally break the backup folder, and I somehow, when making changes, I couldn't figure something out, or if during those changes, like something was just wrong, um, I mean, I break it, but it's just a backup folder. What do I do about that? I literally just delete the backup folder, and then I mean, I got rid of some work, but it is a lot easier to delete a backup folder and then just start over than it is to fix every problem you made, setting it back to the version you were originally on, and then setting it like and then trying to re-update it again. It's absolute mayhem if you make a mistake. And I mean I'm not an expert coder, but I definitely do make mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you have to appreciate these things. The method that I show you about updating it to 1.19.4 is the safest thing that you can do, because if that thing works, you know that the next version is working. The big deal is literally about it's does your code then work in it, and then learning how to fix the changes. And there is some sacrifice sometimes. So it did load. I'm just gonna do this. So it does load. But sometimes, like, so I was going through the changes, I was comparing codes. There's a couple times where I they changed something and I personally just don't know how to fix it. And when that has happened a couple times, and temporarily I would have to delete a couple features um, out of certain versions because I couldn't figure out how to fix them. And I would always put it as a temporary change. Or sometimes weird things happen in the mod when you update them, and things just don't necessarily work right, and it's like, uh-oh, I made a mistake. In the current version that I have for my mod, trees, not in the tutorial, in the tutorial, trees I believe are generating correctly, but in my official mod they're not. Like trees are like stacking on top of each other, degenerating on each other, and that's because it's very outdated. And I have to like recode a lot of them. So hopefully the recoding goes through okay and everything like that. But I guess we'll see how it goes. So I just took all those extra classes. You don't need them. Delete. And 7,286. It's a lot of extra. That's literally like a third. I think it was either 21 or 28 or something like that. So it was either a third or a quarter. But now if I look at my 1.19.3, you can definitely tell that. So the this one I don't need it. .com don't need it. Assets data net, assets data net. Look at that, they're all the same. So let's close out of this, and now I can now delete this. 13,101 files, and then I put this one in its place. So now we are officially in here. And the reason I did that entire process was just so I could do this. Open it, data, Minecraft, and remember how I showed you all those tags? They made a brand new one called damage type, and there are now new JSON files based on, like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So you can now make custom damage types and also make like custom like damage names, like death things. And so that is hopefully something that I will get to, especially when it comes to 1.20, because that is technically going to be part of the data tutorial. But dimension types, they updated how the dimension types are, I believe. Not dimension types, maybe it was something else. There was something else that they changed that I liked. Unless it was just dimensions. Could be wrong. World Gen. They did change some stuff in here, like I was saying. Like I don't think this was in there before, but all we need to know is let's make a brand new. Let's do it properly this time. So Minecraft, only add things that you're going to be changing. So it is called World Gen, and then let's add one called let's say biome. And inside of biome, let's just pick a plains, right? And then let's just add the plains in here. Hit OK. And then inside of our plains, we're going to add all of our features. So what are our feature names? What do we need for them? We can look that up in our world gen, place features. Here are all the names. So for the stones, so if I control like this, control C, and then I whoosh, put it on top, let's take this and let's call it HMH3, and then we're going to call it, so we're going to need cement, and then we're going to control D, because we also need to add the infested cement also in there. The other ones are the lake vital surface, lake vital underground, which are here. Control C, Control V, and then here it's not called lava, it is called vital, and then down here it's also called vital. Also, please make sure that you change your Minecraft to HMH3 and this to HMH3. Could you make in your world gen, could you make a folder called biome and then have planes be in that file and change it like this? Yes, you can, but it's not going to do what you think. Everything inside of your folders are owned by your mod, and how they're placed is going to be how your code says. That is the same thing like how Minecraft has their stuff, which is coded and placed by how their stuff. When we do mixed code like this, where they're both in resources, they're sharing the same resource folder, we can intertwine them like this, and that is a special way to put them in the same place. But you cannot have two folder names in two namespaces, so two biomes. Everything in Minecraft, all of the biomes in here are Minecraft's biomes. If I add a biome folder to my world gen, it is going to be my biome, meaning I'm going to have my planes, and then I need my planes to generate in the world because I would need to tell it to generate in the world. So if I added a planes, I would have to add my own custom biome and then have it generate in the world. I will talk about custom dimensions and custom biomes in a future video. That is an experimental feature, however. So it's not going to be an official thing, and you can use it at your will, but it is experimental, so do what you want with it. The last thing that we have on here is our toffee flower. So let us Control D. I probably should have just clicked on it, Control D. And then let's do HMH3, and then let's look up toffee flower. Alright, so now all this stuff is generating, all of our place features now generate inside of the Minecraft Plains biome. So, with that in mind, let us, now everything should now be working. We got rid of all the stuff in our Minecraft because we only want the stuff, technically, I should get rid of like most of these things and just keep the stuff that we need, but tags are just tags. Tags are fine. Unless they change the names, but even if you had tags in here that literally didn't exist, it won't break the game. But this stuff, because it's actually world generation and is placing blocks in the world and how they, like, if it disagrees, it will cause problems. So be cautious of that. Let us now load the world again. We should have already run the data generation. It's just about the client, so whether you have a backup folder or not. This is the moment of truth. Look at that, it's loading. And then the second moment of truth, we hit single player, preparing for world creation. Saw how it said for world creation? That was exactly how I knew that it was about the world generation file that they changed. So now we have our brand new world. Let's put it in creative and hit create new world and have our first experience in 1.19.4 in our mod. All right, loading in. We got a nice biome. So, oh geez. The first thing, every time you have certain settings when you update your mod, it's not going to remember the information for all of your stuff. So, in options, I am your video, or not the video settings. The music settings is very loud. Let's just put it at 5% for now, because it's probably, I don't even think you guys can hear it, can you? All right. That's fine. Music and sounds, controls, keybinds. I'm gonna fix this for a second, so ignore me as I fix it. So let's see. Sprint is caps lock. My attack and destroy are switched. Let's see. This is my button 4. Let's see. This is R. And I think that is it. So now I can sprint. I can sprint around. Brilliant. All right. I should have started with this. Hit E, and then go in your tab, and look at that. All of the stuff is in here. Now, normally I do make another tab, and I call it testing instead of mod blocks, mod items. You call it mod testing, but I usually just call it testing, and I throw things in there. That way it looks like this. See how this looks nice and clean? That did not look like light brown dye to me, and I forgot that I made that, and I thought it was something else. All right, but it does look a lot cleaner to not have these in there. So if you want to add, I would recommend making another tab. This is Geckolib stuff. This will not repeat when you make a jar file. If you make a jar build file, whatever's in here, this tab goes away because these are only examples and it's coded that way. So Build a jar file, this goes away. So where this jar file happens to be is where I would make your testing. Throw all of these things in there, and then it'll make this look cleaner. Let's go. Is this actually already a plains biome? I don't know. This is a terrible plains if it is. Basically, our things are working. If I, oop, like, went away. Yep, that definitely still works. Let us try and see if we can find some of our stuff. Is this a plains? I'm gonna go underground, and if I see the thing, yeah, that. So we are definitely in a plains because that only generates in a plains. That's the lake. We probably have a lot of the stones, so we have infested and regular stone. I can't tell which one is which actually. But that is all the same. And then the last thing that I want to check is the entity saved. Now oh, there's the toffee flower. I didn't even notice these. But if the entity works, that's used by another mod. Should have made a what's it called, an egg for it, but I didn't. HMH floofers. And look at that, that is still working. So everything, if your entity works, then yeah, you have everything in your official, your 1.19 form. Fabric, fabric, fabric. I think that is simply because it's in the thing. If you wanted to build a jar file and put it in your official Minecraft world, you could go ahead and do that. Why don't we just, as a bonus, we could just kind of quickly go over that. Let's speed run making this into a jar file, just because. So jar file. How do we make a jar file? Build, and then once you go in your builds, dots terminal. If you did not make the mistake, good for you. Slash Gradle W build. So now it is going to start doing that. Perfect, brilliant. That is grand. Great, build successful. And then we are going to need to make the fabric installer. So if you don't have a fabric installer, let's quickly get one. So let's look up the fabric. Making you're gonna need nope, not that. Fabric installer Minecraft. I thought, okay, it's on a different page. That's why. So we got this. All right. Loader version. Make sure you check your Gradle properties. 1419. So if this is 1419, this is going to need to be 1419 preferably for 1.19.4. Install. Brilliant. Kabam. I think I already actually had one because I was working on something the other day, which is actually VR related, funny enough. And then the mods. You're going to need the fabric API for 1.19.4. Going into CurseForge mods, files. All right, and then you're gonna fabric 1.19.4. This is perfectly 78. What do I have in here? 78. Perfect. So wait, was it this one? Yeah, 78. Let's download that file, and then the other one that we are going to need is the Geckolib 1.19.4 Minecraft mods, and then let's take a look at the the version is not going to be in here for Geckolib. It's going to be in your build.gradle files. So this one is 413. We can remember that. Forge fabric for 413. Brilliant. So now let's download that file. All right, those are in here. Let's show the folder. And then let's grab the other one. And oh, I can delete this zip file. Let's grab the other folder, and I would find that in here. I'd go into my build, libs, and then here in your jar file, we're gonna need that. So let's throw it out here. Actually, I was supposed to copy it, so I just kind of put it back, honestly. Let's open up your mods folder. You can do that with %app data Minecraft mods, and then shove the 3 in there. This, and then these 2, and then brilliant. That is now in your mods folder. Great. So now we can open up the official Minecraft launcher. And then instead of the 1.19.4, we're going to need the 0.14.19 for 1.19.4. We're going to hit play. It should load everything. Everything should be grand. Hopefully it doesn't give me the error message that it did in the last video. But, yeah, this should be everything. It's loading. Brilliant. Great, grand. Look at that. Mojang Studios. Single player. We still got all our stuff. We can delete that, create a brand new world. I am really going to need to get used to this because, oh my. Something about it just doesn't feel right. I think it's the colors of the background. I don't like how the backgrounds are like steel dirt blocks. I feel like they need to be something else. But here we are in our, if we open up in here, it is now a fabric loader. Fabric. Instead of just fabric, it's fabric loader. But we are in the official 1.19.4. We happen to be in a sparse jungle, and then same thing, if I go in my inventory, hitting the right tabs, here is all of the unique stuff that we got. Our armor still works the same. If we take something off, it should. Oh. If we take something off, it should go down. So the armor still works the same, despite us not doing any changes to the actual files. So, I mean, everything still works the same. It's great. It's grand. Everything's good to go. Here's a plains biome. There's the top 3 flowers, and there's another lake. I'm pretty sure there could be a floofer somewhere. Oh wait, I didn't tell the floofers that they could spawn. I just realized that. Alright, so that would be a bug, but we're not going to talk about it. So how do you make the floofer spawn if you don't remember? You go down to your thing. Let's find the chicken. Let's control C. Let's take it down here. And then let's call this the, take out this, HMH3. And then let's call this the FLUFFERS, floofers, a maximum, let's say a maximum of 3, minimum of 1, weight of 10, perfect. So now that is in there, totally forgot about that. I'm not going to build a new jar file and everything, but that is the last thing done, dusted, so everything should now be working. You now have a Minecraft 1.19.4. If you choose to keep your original Minecraft for 1.19.3, you can. As you can tell, I do that. I keep previous versions up to date. I generally only keep one, and the reason I generally only keep one is because once it's updated, generally you don't need it anymore, as long as you set up your GitHub repository. That is actually going to be different now, because now it doesn't remember that I even have a GitHub. But if I open it up in my open up file, reset Minecraft tutorial, this window, it remembers that the last thing I worked on was generation. So I would have to reset up my GitHub and stuff like that. But hey, it's working. It's working. That's pretty good. But now we are in officially 1.19.4. So hey, all the stuff is there. That's everything from me. That's it. That's gonna be it for me in this video. So I hope this was a really interesting video for you guys. I know it was a little bit long and I went on a little bit of a ramble, but please make up backup folders. That way, if you break stuff, you can always fix it or start over if you ever feel like you need to. But hopefully this wasn't too bad. Didn't knock off your ear. You only have to do it once every version, which only comes up every couple of months. And sometimes people even skip versions. I skip versions all the time, and then generally sometimes just do official versions like 1.20, 21, 22. Well, but that is going to be it for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,